Yeah, good. We just start off here, and then as more people come in, yeah, I suppose that we'll as more people come in, we'll do introductions. All right. So yeah, yeah, how's everything been? Yeah, and just remind me where you are in the tech industry again.
So right now I'm doing a boot camp. Um, I'm doing a coding boot camp, and so afterwards I will start looking for jobs and stuff.
Okay. And how far along have you come in that boot camp since?
So I'm in week 3,
Okay.
going into week 4.
Right. And what are you learning about so far?
So far we've mainly learned about the fundamentals of JavaScript and just understanding the overall JavaScript language. And we've learned Git as well. To going into next week, we're going to start learning about data structures and algorithms.
Okay. Okay. So things like functions, right? Things like variables, right?
Yeah,
Mhm. Right. So is it?
and like asynchronous code and stuff with JavaScript.
Oh yeah, yeah. That one. Yeah, that one's a tough one, isn't it? Which one do you think
Yeah,
is the tough? All right. So out of like, you think function is tough, variable is tough, or the synchronous stuff?
asynchronous code is kind of tough
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could
because
break. Mhm.
JavaScript is like single threaded, so it runs in one order, like it's not multi-threaded. So asynchronous code like allows it to sort of run multiple things at the same, not at the same time, but like run multiple things.
Okay, okay. Hey, Jen, how you doing? Are you able to? Okay, I think she connected and or they connected and disconnected. All right, yeah, continue.
Okay, yeah. Um, Besides the synchronous code, we also learned about like callback functions and closures and just overall how the JavaScript language sort of works.
Yeah, yeah. So right with the synchronous functions, right? If you want me to, if right, so all that really happened, like did so this sound like theory. Did you write any code asynchronous? Did you use any promises yet?
No, we haven't done promises yet.
Okay, okay, okay. But when you get to it, um, yeah, you don't really have to think of it that way. Um, it's just all right. Say for example, right? You're logging in, right? Let's say you bank. Let's think of a bank that you go online. Do you have a bank
Y-
that you log into and check your balance and all that stuff?
Yeah,
Okay. So this is all right. This is example. All thing that is asynchronous is that you log in with your username and password, right? So what happens
yeah,
here? Your username and your password get sent to a server, right? But that takes time, right? That takes time, right? So instead of like, so if it was synchronous, right, your computer would freeze. Like your computer would freeze until, and then hey, Jen, can you hear us? Or Rumi? Okay, so Rumi and Jen, I think you're both in there. Hey, can you hear us? If you can hear us, there's a
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
and then Rumi,
You
is
guys
that
hear me?
how? Yeah, and then how do you pronounce your name? Reumy. I just want me. Okay, yeah, yeah. Thanks for joining us at Virtual Code and Chill. We were just talking about async, right? For a
Oh,
sec,
async
I
and all
want
that.
to
Nice.
yeah, async. I have one member here. He's in a boot camp. I want to finish that, and then we'll go to introductions, right? And then
Oh,
even
cool,
so,
cool.
if anyone wants to give their insight on asynchronous, right, they can, right?
Nice,
So
nice.
basically, where I left off by the day was, you know, that user if that was synchronous, if that was in sync, your computer would freeze, right? But in
yeah.
async, right, your username and password get sent while you could view other parts of the web of like the website. Do you play football? I mean Europe. I mean like global, not American football, the world
Y-
football.
Yes.
And you go and you go on their website, right? The football Premier League, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So synchronous. So when that video, all the videos that is playing, right? That's an API call to get the video, right? If it was sync, that means only one video would play at the time while the whole site is frozen.
I see.
Yeah, but now it's async. That means multiple videos are playing at the same time. You can check the scoreboard, you can check the dashboard, right? So that's what async is allowing you to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll definitely get to it. All right. So I think with that, let's start off introduction.
Oh,
So,
also, I guess if I could chime in on that real quick.
yeah.
So often like how I would like describe it, like when I would explain it is exactly what you said. And I guess like another example to look at would be the difference between like a single lane road versus a multi-lane highway. And so when you're on a single lane road, like no matter how many cars are there, each car has to wait its turn before it passes like the light, as opposed to when you go from a single lane road to multi-lane roads, each car can pass at their own rate or at their own time. And so it's like they're not blocked by the car in front of them. So it's a difference between like you being able to, it's a difference between one thing having to wait before something else is done, and the difference between you don't have to wait on the person in front of you or the operation in front of you. So it's pretty much what he'd explained. Does that make
Nice.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Awesome.
And then Jen, do you have any insight you want to provide as well to BioDay?
No, not for this topic.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right, so I think with that, let's go ahead and introduce. So my name's Halik. I'm actually an owner at WindMillCode. I partner with We Build Black. Every Saturday, I do my best to try to hop on and really try to have these sessions, try to talk about all things tech, right? Tech literacy, tech landscape, career landscape, financial literacy and tech as well. In addition to that, so we discuss various topics in tech, AI, about AI, machine learning, right? I work with I'm a full stack developer, so we can also talk to things about like Angular and React, front end development, back end development with APIs, Python, Spring Boot, C#, even Clojure. We had a guest come on and talk about Clojure, and then mobile development, and really a lot of things. And then at the end, if we don't have any more to talk about, we try to do a workshop where a member here, if they need help with something, right, they'll share their screen and we'll try to debug it together. So that's my introduction. All right, so let's go ahead. Rumi, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Nice. What's going on, guys? I'm Rumi. I'm here in Atlanta. I'm also a full stack developer. Like these days, I'm more mobile. But I'm an indie hacker here. I just actually am working on, just finished deploying my first, I guess, production app on my own, indie to the App Store, and Apple is being Apple. In other words, they haven't given me a reason yet as to why it's not fully published yet, but I'm sure they just have like a sheer amount of submissions. So whenever that happens, I'll probably be able to tell you guys more about it. But yeah, similar to Halik, I'm a part of a few different communities where essentially my passion is not only building, but helping people learn to build and helping kind of connect people to those resources that they need. I'm also a previous bootcamp grad and had taught at one before as well. So yeah, I just kind of enjoy the process of building and helping people actually reach their goals through the process as well. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. What about you, Jen? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jen. If you guys are crinkling in the background, that is my cats running around. But yeah, so I'm Jen. I'm from Philadelphia. I am a very beginner learner with this topic. Taking classes at my local community college and also trying to use Codecademy just to learn additional stuff. The end goal for me is I would like to be a full stack developer, but focusing a lot on like the front end stuff so that I don't overwhelm myself. So yeah, I guess I'm hoping to find different communities where people are in the job that I'm like hoping to eventually get to get an idea of some of the things that were really helpful for other people when they were learning. Um, yeah, and also too, I guess to find spaces where it just helps in like motivating myself to do like study sessions and things like that. So yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. And then your bio day. I know you're not the first timer. Go ahead, introduce yourself again.
Yeah, so I'm Biode. I'm also from Philadelphia. I do have a little bit of experience with programming, but I'm currently taking a coding boot camp at App Academy. I'm in week 3, and I chose to join this meeting just to, I guess, be more involved in the community. And thanks for having me.
All right, great, great, great. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Right. So, I think you all guys, especially for you, Jen, you're down the right path. Even today's now in age, I think I suppose that there's still PR out there about, hey, there's jobs in tech. Hey, there's your jobs in tech. But then you also hear that there's shortages in tech, right? And things like that. And then you definitely want like the self-taught route. Definitely not the way to go anymore. You definitely want to have credentials. You definitely want to have organization under your belt. So I know boot camps been taking strides since I last heard about them, and then like even getting a degree, right? Really to try to get into track, right? That's the most important thing, right? So in addition to that, right, in addition as you go along your journey, I think, right, coming here, right, in a place like to really discuss like some of the issues that you have, and I'm specifically focused on you guys, Jen and Day, because right, you guys are going to the courses, right? Now you just need the mentors, and now you just need you're going to the right places. Now you just need those mentors and as well as those events. And then one thing in addition to online events, right? In-person events, right? Have you been able? You guys been going to in-person events, I suppose, as well, correct?
I haven't been to one. This is like my first event for anything ever. But there is one that I was eyeing in Philadelphia, but they were full at the time. But I am planning on going to one. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, sounds good, right? You think you want to continue to go to those, or really try to network, but at the same time, right? What I would imagine is that, right? The questions, like if you guys are working on things, like as you're working, I know in the boot camp, right? That by day is going through theory, but when there's actual issues that you want to come across, right? Definitely, right. All the events that you've gone to, right? Keep in close contact with the people that you have there, right? To reach out to them and say, hey, I don't have I have a misunderstanding. Can you try to best assist me on this problem, right? Because computer science. One thing about computer science, it can get ridiculous, right? So I don't know, Jen, if you started coding as of yet, getting your hands dirty with code, or
a little bit, but I still feel very much lost. Like I think an issue for me was like the one class that I started was like JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and then another class was Java. And I think maybe, I guess for me personally as a beginner, it was a bit hard because I have like no foundation. I never studied prior to taking a class. So I think it was just a little bit difficult trying to like pick out the differences and not get confused when I was like trying to write code for each different program. Um, but yeah, I guess that's a question too that I'm wondering for like everyone in the group. Like, you mentioned like the going to school or like doing a boot camp. What information you guys know about that, and like I guess like experiences that you've had. I know I was talking to someone and they were mentioning I guess like the differences between some majors or degrees, like computer science or software engineer. Like, yeah, if you guys have any like information or like advice about those things.
Yeah, so I want to give my insight, and I want to give my insight that it doesn't really matter. School doesn't really matter. Yeah, school doesn't really matter. Once you have the degree, it does. At least in my industry, yeah, it's a technology industry. Once you have a degree, it doesn't really matter. It's about how you know how talented you are, but you just have to have that degree first. Because in my industry, recruiters, they're very, very fickle. They're very like, they see you as a number, okay, and just know that people who don't bother about computer science, they see you already as like, you know, as they see you as like nerdy or geeky when you're just a regular person at the end of the day. So more so that they're going to see you as a number, right? So more so that they're just going to want, they want the prerequisites for a degree and after and that and the third. But after that, after you check off all their check boxes, right, you just basically tell them how smart you are, right? So whether it's from a degree or a boot camp, that's why I say stay with the degree, because all jobs, they're just require a degree. They don't care. You know, I've been hearing strides about boot camps and people getting jobs like through boot camps, right? But from what I know about recruiters and, you know, interviewing with tons of them, that you basically have to try and check off all the boxes. And then, like, even so, like, one thing about interviews too is that when you interview and they say, hey, you're ready to move on to the next interview, you just want to pick the earliest date, because even in this day and age about the job shortage, right, they're looking, spots will go quick. So, you know, so just know that it's not really more about which degree that you get. It's all about that you have the degree, and then right, once you have that degree, you would be competent enough, like, already to study on your own, right? You understand what I'm saying, Jen? Like,
Yeah,
after that X
sense.
amount of years, right? It's like, no, people don't know that they should study on their own, but they will be able to study on their own, to study what they need to learn, what they need to learn, right, in order to be confident and apply for that job. And then even so, like, it's actually fearful, because when I got my job, my first job was at PwC, and it was a big company, and I thought everyone there was just going to be 10 times better than me, and then I got promoted 2 months later, right? So it's really it's really about, you know, yeah, so it's really not, it really wasn't predicated, and my promotion wasn't based on what I learned in school, right? It was just based on self-taught. But you know, going to school and having that basis, right, definitely put me in the right direction, right? As like, if I just was not in the industry, didn't go to school at all, and then just started hopping in, then it was like, all right, it would probably be more difficult for me to find the right resources.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You know,
that's
so
helpful. Thank you.
what about you, Remy? I know that you graduated from a boot camp, so you have a different experience, I suppose.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess this is a great question for one, and I think between me and Halik, we're probably two sides of the same coin. Um, for me, I don't have a prior, I don't even have a college degree. But I've seen, I would like to say, like, some success in the industry. I've seen things from all perspectives, I guess. Like, I've seen it from you know, super accredited people that found it hard to get roles, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I think for me, my opinion is more so it depends on, like, it depends. So it's like, where do you want to go? Like, a lot of people, they get into programming or coding, however you want to describe it, and they don't necessarily have a clear trajectory. They hear that, oh, it's greener on the other side, like I could work remote or it's going to be high paying, but they don't realize that it's more than just, like, you have to at least have a goal or direction where you want to go, because, like, all things, it's a skill set, and it's an ambiguous skill set. There's so many different languages, there's so many stacks, there's so many types of companies you can work with within being a software engineer in itself. There's so many different layers and problems you can be working on. You can be back end, front end. Within back end in itself, you can be DevOps, you can be just working on purely the API layer, you can be a documentation writer, etc. Right? So, not to say that to scare you in any way, but It's better to kind of to look at it at least this way, where it's a tool, right? Like it's just it's the modern day tool. Like back in the day, where if once you learn, you know, Excel or how to use a spreadsheet, that instantly opens you up to like data entry roles. That opens you up to data analyst roles. That opens you up to being able to like work for a marketing company and like do a competitor analysis, right? So it's a tool. And so once you understand like, okay, if it's a tool, the first thing that you'd want to do is just fundamentally learn how to use that tool. So the advantage that people that go to school have, it's for companies at least, like Halik said, it's the at least whether you like to do it or not, because you have this degree, we know that you're exposed to these things. Like we know that bare minimum, you know what binary is. We know bare minimum, you know what an API is. Bare minimum, we know that you at least know how to write some type of code. Whether you're good at it or not, that's a whole different conversation. But simply having the degree, it's less of a headache, because to the side of people that are actually passionate and really wanting to learn and grow, there's a whole lot of people that are like imposters, right? There's a lot of people who say they can code, who throw their resumes in there and say they have like 10 years of experience, but they get on a job and they're shit, right? So it's like there's no way of determining how good somebody is until you test them. And so the added benefit that you have of getting a degree is it's kind of like that stamp of approval of, okay, you at least have some basis of knowledge on some of these things.
Yeah.
And I guess
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I was going to say the one last difference that I see, it's like, because you do get gatekeeped from certain roles if you don't have a degree. And that's the other side of it, of like, where do you want to kind of fall in the industry? Like for me, my majority, like I refer to myself as an indie hacker, because the majority of my experience has literally been with different startups. I've been in the industry for about 10 years now. I've only ever worked with startups. I don't have like the biggest dev team I've ever worked with was like 4 people. And most of the cases I'm wearing multiple hats, like full stack. I'm building out the database, I'm building out the APIs, like, and so on the side of like big data and like, you know, working with like heavy processes, like I've never had that experience. And so, but would I want that experience? I don't know, because I've never experienced it. So I guess for me, it's more so like having friends in the industry. It's about like, where do you want to fall, I guess. And so if you're looking to have a better chance at like working at a Home Depot or working at like a PwC or Google or Meta or Apple, yes, not having a degree is probably going to make it like very, very hard for you to get that role, unless you know somebody there, unless you know, are, like Alik said, like going to the events, meeting people, and really going in and doing your due diligence. You have to work twice as hard. But on the other side, again, it's not all shit. Like on the other side, there's a whole other world where, again, it's a tool. So there's tons of companies, there's tons of startups, there's tons of people who need somebody who's just legitimately competent. Like, and this will be the last thing I'll say about this, but essentially, like, imagine you're a company, right? And I've had to hire for like a junior role before, and imagine you're a company and you just need somebody to come in to, okay, we have a new product we're launching. It's going to be a new mobile app. We need it to be built in React Native because everything else is in React. So we just want to, keep costs down. And you're a company, so you're trying to, keep costs low. You're trying to survive as long as you can, right? Now imagine you have a month to find somebody. How annoying will it be imagine the people that are doing the hiring, they themselves aren't developers most of the time. So half the time when you're interviewing with like a technical recruiter or HR, they don't know shit about what you're saying. Like you can say all the languages you want. They just see, oh, you do Python, you do JavaScript, you do this. Okay, cool. You must be good. But then you get this person in and you're like, all right, we just need this person to actually be able to build this out and not build such a shitty experience that we actually lose customers. Then we won't have any money to pay anybody, right? And so it just boils down to like, you want to actually be good at what you do, regardless of whether you have a degree or not. And that's the ultimate best way to position yourself. Obviously, if you have the ability to go to school, again, I agree with the league where you don't necessarily need school, but it will gatekeep you.
No, you need school. No, you need school.
Go ahead. Okay,
you need
cool.
School. I just wanted to interject. You need school.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so like it's definitely like a if you will be gatekept from certain roles. So if you have the ability to go to school and get that degree and all that, for sure, it could only help you, right? But again, not everybody has the ability to go to school. Everybody's circumstances are different. Having talked with like a few people that are trying to step into the industry, some of the people are kind of late bloomers. You have people in their late 30s, early 30s, and late 20s with families and lives. So not everybody necessarily has the ability to kind of enter. So it's like for those who don't, it's not all doom and gloom. It's more so at that point. Now you are kind of entering into an industry where everybody, some of the people do have degrees and are kind of polished and understand like the base of knowledge. But the beautiful thing is we live in a day and age where you can find everything online. So there's no excuse to not be able to learn what somebody who does have a CS degree does. It just boils down to your diligence and your ability to work. That concludes my TED Talk.
Thank you, Rumi. Thank you, Halik.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys. That's actually really helpful. So I appreciate you guys like sharing. So thanks.
yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, yeah, I mean, like, you know, so for the most part, you know, Jen, you're on the right track. You know, it's just really a matter of, I think what we want to do now is a matter of, like, this is discussing the day-to-day issues that you might be having as you code along here. We're going to get into that next, right? So, like, really, so basically, and then I'll start talking about my day. So, basically, I'm building a video management platform now, right? And one of the hardest things as a beginner, and even as you grow through your career, is gauging how difficult a project would be. Okay, right? Right. So, but what you come to learn is that as you go along, there's certain keywords that you wanna try to pay attention to. Like, if you don't have a mentor, you probably won't see it. But like, if as you go along, and then you probably say, hey, you want to come build this app. Maybe if you're in a like a startup role or startup situation, right? You wanna some things you want to try to identify, or even want to try to do a project yourself. Some things you want to try to identify is like users, right? Payment, and then media, right? If an application, right, is if an application has media, manages media, that's going to be 10 times as difficult, right, than an application that doesn't manage media. Because media, videos, audio, those are large, right? If you would imagine, your modern video, right, is anywhere from a couple hundred megabytes to gigabytes, to 1 or 2 gigabytes, right? And managing that on those free applications out there, render a platform as a service, even Firebase, right? That comes very, very costly. One of the things that school does is that even though it doesn't teach you, like, people say, hey, people, there's all this PR and propaganda about school, is because that in the beginning stages, it doesn't really teach you about, okay, how to censor a div or how to use React, even though you're starting to see that in schools now. But, you know, later on down the line, when you have an application and there's jobs, right? You have to code a job. You have to queue the job. You have to make sure that jobs run concurrently and not too many jobs are running at a time, so that overloads system resources. You know, then and then your data structure, how to organize that data structure, normalization, right? You know, that's that is where school comes in. That's where that mentorship comes in. That's where, you know, even self-taught, it's hard to wrap your head around what's going on without that foundation, you know. So that's one of the issues that I'm facing, and you know, so so, you know, with that said, right, I know we was talking about the synchronous programming, right, and then I think Jed, like, so I know we left off, right, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and that approach. Right, and then what I want to say to that is, like, there's when you become as you code, right? I think what it is that right, the reason why there's confusion, right, the reason why you're quote unquote lost, as you said it, right, quote unquote, that but
Yeah.
is because, right, you have to define. I was telling my mentees before, you have to define the end goal, right? What's the end goal of what I'm doing? It's hard. It's very easy to get lost, right? Because as you heard
Yeah.
it to know, it's not your fault at the end of the day. JavaScript is a bad language, right? You may have heard this before. The JavaScript
How
is
dare
a
you.
bad language, right? I see it every day. Like 1 + 1 is 2. Next day 1 + 1 is somehow 3. I was dealing with this yesterday. 1 + 1 was 3. I put it in the console. I asked ChatGPT. No clue. 1 + 1 is 3. I had to reinstall the browser. That's what I had to do, right? Because so JavaScript and then even so, if number is more common, so it's not. So it's that at the end of the day, right? Right. But at those, so right, definitely, definitely keep going on because there's an issue, right? But then the issue could suddenly get bigger than what you know. It's probably something memory related. It's something I'm trying to think of. See, it's hard to remember. I know you know what I'm talking about, Remy, because it's hard to remember like all these annoyances once you dealt with them. Like once you dealt with the annoyance, like you just forget about it. Like but when I use Angular, and I know no one in the group uses Angular, but there's this I was writing test cases, and the test cases wouldn't work. I didn't know why. ChatGPT didn't know why, and it was because there was this import statement that wasn't supposed to be there, right? And I had no knowledge of the deeper workings of Angular, but just removing that import statement, right? It got it to work, right? So that spirit, what I'm trying to say there is that sometimes when you're lost, when you're having issues, not that you're lost, but when you're having issues, you want to try to tinker with it. Like every single thing, right? Is this working? You have to go through it one that it sounds like it's tedious and long, but as you go along, it's like it's just faster. I'll try to think. All right, I'm trying to bring in 3 concepts here. It's with experience. With experience, you're going to start to be able to figure out what's going on. Like you're going to recognize things. Like JavaScript is a person. Okay, let's say that JavaScript is a person. Like
Okay.
all these, the reason why they're so confusing, they're actually people in a way. They have characteristics. They like to do things. Like Python, it likes to do tabs. JavaScript, right? It likes promises, await, async await, and all that stuff. They have personality. As you like, it's like a person, and in a way. And the more you get to know JavaScript as a person, the more that you're gonna be like, it's like, what's going on? It's like, oh, it's JavaScript. It's just JavaScript being JavaScript again. So
Yeah, no, that's actually helpful. Thank you.
yeah. So there's that, and then right. So after that, right. So the first thing right after that is like, what's the end goal, right? So if you're working on a problem, right, and right, you're getting thrown off, right, you're going to say, you always ask yourself, what's the end goal of all of this? And you're going to ask yourself, what steps can I take to get closer to my end goal? Okay, so let's try to bring up the example of an issue that you might be having an issue with, right? Can you bring up one?
Yeah, I think I don't know if this is like a good example, but I think thinking about what you're saying, I think an issue is that I'm like learning how to like do something. So maybe like the most basic, like you're learning how to like print a line of code or um, like create a prompt for a user to input information. But I think I don't have a like larger idea of like how to use that. I think like maybe a beginner project might be something that would be helpful. That's what it's making me think of, like what you're saying. I don't know if that answers your question though. Like, yeah, I don't know if that's a problem, like not having a project to apply what you're learning to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So let's take one of those examples, right? Printing to the console, right? right?
Okay.
Prints into the console, right? So that's the goal, right? So let's define the end goal. Let's define it, and the end goal is to print to the end console, right? So now the next step. What is the next step, right? Do I know how to print to the console? Yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So if I know how to print to the console, then console log.
Yeah.
Let's get to the bigger problem. All right. So now prompts the user, right? Prompts the user. All right. So the end goal is to prompts the user, right? Do I know how to prompt the user?
Yes.
Oh, you know how to. All right. Let's.
Luckily. Luckily.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Hey, Haley, you know how to take a stab at this? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what I would say from the standpoint of I would honestly say you don't necessarily need a project, but what's really hard when it comes to programming it becomes extremely difficult to understand and grasp any concept when you don't understand the use case. So it's not necessarily a project that you would need, but for sure, use case always is the first start. And what I mean by that is what use case is it? What point is it to learn a print statement if you never know when to use it? You're just going to forget it each time, right? Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Jen, I can hear you.
I can't.
Can you hear
For
me?
some reason, I can't hear anything. Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
You hear me now?
I think
Hello,
we're
hello,
too
hello?
far. I think we're too far away from each other. Right, Rumi, if you could walk
Oh.
over to where Jen is. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Would you be willing to start from the beginning of what you were saying? I totally missed it.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
nice. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so one of the things I was saying is I relate to this not only with myself when I went through first kind of really understanding how to do a lot of these things, and even kind of even still to this day, sometimes I struggle with it, but I think context helps a lot with anything, right? If you don't, for example, what use is it to learn a print statement? Let's say something as simple as that, if you're never going to actually use it. And so
Yeah.
each time you're going to forget it, and you're going to forget, I remember when I first started learning for loops, I'm like, okay, I get how this works. I get what it is, but when the hell am I going to use this?
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. Yeah. That's how I'm
Exactly.
feeling.
Yeah. And whenever that happens, you're just more confused than ever because it's okay,
Yeah.
I get it's a for loop. I get that I'm making numbers, iterate, and blah, blah, blah. But how does this make numbers appear on the screen? Right?
Yeah.
So that's where, in fact, a project does help. And it doesn't have to be a project. It can be something small. And one of the things I like to do, at least whenever I'm learning any new concept, is I call it sandboxing. And what that is just you take out your code editor or whatever it is, whatever it may be, and you find a use case. The best use case for any new language or anything to do is a to-do list app. It's very simple. It has all your code operations. You're creating things, you're reading things, you're updating things, and you're deleting things. And no matter what the language is, at the very core level, if you look at any application on Earth, you can boil it down to some type of a rudimentary to-do list because you're storing data, you're reading data, you're updating data, and you're deleting data. And what ends up happening is when you have that goal of trying to do something, there's I can't remember what the law is, but there's this law that says the best time to learn something is when you actually need it because there's so many things you can learn. And so the best time to learn something. So it's if you're going to build let's say you're going to build this to-do list app. So the first thing you know is that, well, I actually need some way to actually tell the computer to give the computer data. And so then you start working with inputs. Okay, now I need a way for the computer to remember this data. Okay, now you start working with state management in some small way. You have to store your data into a variable. Okay, cool. So the computer has my data. Now, computer, tell me what data I have. And like Khalik said, it's these languages are like people, but computer as well. You're just learning to speak to a computer essentially. And so, okay, computer, give me the data back. Show me what data I actually am seeing. And you get to choose where you want that data to be seen. It's either you're going to render it onto the screen and show it and make it look pretty, or you're going to just kind of return it to me, print it, tell me, talk to me, tell me what that data is. And then you're oh, So what's the best way to do this? And you start trying to figure out how to do it, and then you start seeing, oh wait, so this language has this coding, this program language has a way to do it. They provided a way for me to actually tell the computer to speak back. And a lot of times it is that print method of some sort, whether it be, like Khalid said, like a console log in JavaScript or a print in Python, whatever it may be. Every language has some form of like printing to like the very base console. And then you figure out how to do that, and you're like, okay, cool. Now I understand, because now I have data, I have something that I want to understand and see. And I now have come across this use case where I actually needed it. And 9 times out of 10, when you struggle with something just a little bit, and you're like, and you come across the need for that tool, you almost always remember that tool, because you remember the pain you had before you knew about that tool. That's my take on that, at least.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. That's like, yeah, I couldn't articulate like what the problem I was having, but that's exactly it. Like, so yes, that's really helpful. As a side note, you guys are like really helpful, so I will be back. But yeah, like, yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate the input.
For sure, for sure.
All right, so what I want to do now, I want to direct everyone's attention to the chat. Right, so I put in some links. So link number 1 is going to be the link tree to my organization, WindMillCode. We got our YouTube, we got Instagram, we got Discord. Even we partner with TBT to put our content out there. Right, check us out. And then the second thing is Slack. Right, our Slack channel. Right, so if you join us in our Slack channel, right, the We Build Black Slack channel, you could connect with many people. Right, we have a contact in there. His name is Roydon. He's putting out there jobs for like all different parts of the industries almost every day. You're starting to see him post a lot of stuff out there, as well as other content for like JavaScript and Python, as well as other things going on. Like I have another contact in there trying to promote the Developer 2024 conference, right, virtual in person. So that's probably something that you guys will want to attend. So let's take some time, join the Slack and follow us on Linktree. Let's do that right now. And then after that, I want to put in another thing. I'm gonna put in like a very large I think once you guys are in the Slack, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you to all the additional groups I'm in, so you can even gain access to more people and more resources, all right? So let's try to take some time to do that right now. And then, right, while we're doing that, so I think, Jeb, what we want to do is that we want to try to get a little hands-on, and then let's try to do a little to-do app, right? So what I want you to do, right, after you get into the Slack and you follow us on the link tree, that's if you want to, right? I want you to go ahead and share your screen. And let's pull up the VS Code, right? And let's try to build a little to-do app. I think that's what we want to try to do here. Because I know the beginners, right? You're going through a lot of theory. Let's try to do on some actual hands-on work.
Okay.
Right. So really, in the meantime, while everyone's connected, getting signed up on our Slack. Yeah, tell me, you're so mobile. Using Flutter? So tell me, so did you use Flutter to build the app, or Swift? Or React Native? And then Rumi, you might be on mute.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm back. Just heads up, I have a hard deadline to go out to. But I started using React Native. I don't like back by Expo. I hate it because of like I keep wanting to go native like Swift. Started messing around with what you call it, Swift UI Builder just a little bit. I do like some Udemy tutorial and I do some Udemy course. But I am using React Native simply because it's just in the lane of JavaScript React. And it was a decent experience, I guess, but I do see how or why people end up going native, because it's the lack of control that I have over like what's actually happening. But yeah, I mean, it's for speed wise, it made a lot of sense to kind of go this route. I was going to I had weighed the options between like going Flutter or like Kotlin, or no, Flutter's the way. But I don't know that much of like Java or like anything on that side of the fence. So I was kind of stuck with my guns in this thing.
Yeah, Flutter's built with Dart, but I don't want to. I'm not trying to bring you over. Flutter's built. Yeah, so in Flutter, just so you know, Flutter's built with Dart, so it's more like a JavaScript feel, has a more JavaScript feel to it than Java. So
nice.
Just let you know.
It's like OOP or like functional.
No, it's like so. Yeah, So basically, you hear this saying everything's built out of widgets. So basically, you know what? Come to think of it, it has class, like the widget is like a class. It has a build method, right? So you know it's like Java, where it's like, but it's not like it's not like the types aren't crazy annoying. It's not crazy. It's like TypeScript. It's like Java.
Okay.
It's like type. Yeah, it's when I think about it, you might have a point, but but if you take a little dive in, I don't want to get you diving in, but I think what I want to ask about is what is this app for? What is the features of the app?
Okay. So, I heard very well what we just said. What I deployed was just the MVP, and so underlying is pretty much just a to-do list app. But what kind of to-do list app? It tracks your car issues. And so initially the user logs in, it's OTP authentication. I use Twilio for it. It's an Express backend, again, everything JavaScript. And you type in your vehicle make and model. It then, based on your vehicle make and model, it pings an Unsplash API, grabs an image for it. Lazy, well, not lazy, but again, MVP avoided building like the image uploader. So just grab like the closest Unsplash query that you can find. That image.
Hey, I'm not sure.
Restore the vehicle.
Hey, Jen, by the day, can you confirm with me? Oh, I'm not sure.
Lot, yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
really good.
Awesome. Yeah, no, what I was saying was so it's a vehicle maintenance issue tracker tracking app. At least the MVP is. And so currently you as a user, you go onto the app, you log in, you select your make and model of the car. It pings an Unsplash API to, save a high-res image based off your make and model of the car. And then once your car is stored, I limit it to like a maximum of 3 vehicles so that when it does get pushed to the App Store, people don't just abuse it. I could rate limit them, but again, I'm trying to go MVP here. And so once you have that vehicle, you tap on the vehicle and you can start storing issues onto the vehicle. And then once it gets deployed to the App Store, then I'll probably build like the front end or the business side of it, which is going to be a web app that allows auto shop to kind of have visibility into those car issues. And so it's going to close the gap between making it easier for people to find at least car shops to work on their unique car problems, build a relationship with those auto shops, get swindled less. And there's a whole pitch behind the whole thing, but for sake of time, I'll try to like oversimplify it. And then the end goal is to, one of the core features will be to make it easier for like you to communicate with the driver on the road for your license plate. So let's say you're driving behind somebody and their gas tank is open, or they have a flat tire, or their car is smoking, is about to blow up, and you want to let them know in a non-disruptive way. You would then scan their license plate or type in the license plate information, send them a canned response to avoid people abusing that feature, because people can be assholes on the road. And that person would then get notified when they probably stop the car or when they reach a point to where it's safest to see that notification to where they can address it, amongst other feature sets as well. But those are like the core 2 things I would say it does for now.
Yeah. So one thing I see, so I see the bottleneck, right? Because like, remember what? So before, like, I could talk about the device-heavy features, right? Yeah. So that license plate scan, people's identity can get compromised, right? Right. I think when people sell their cars, right, they hide their license plate, they hide their VIN information, right? Because people could get harmed that way. Now, if you have a device that could make a bad person or a bad guy want to get easier access to it, because they probably don't even want to use that license plate to say, hey, there's something wrong with a car, like, because with car accidents, right? This is my experience, right? With car accidents, right? If you see a car accident that you're not a part of, you kind of want to stay away from it, because if something goes sideways and a cop says, you know what, I just need to fill my quota, it's going to be you, your insurance is just going to It's going to be like your insurance is going to look at you funny. Why didn't you get out of there? Your lawyer's going to look at you funny. Why you didn't get out of there? Right? You don't want to put yourself in a bad situation. When I say you, the proverbial you, I'm thinking of the average person who's only worried for themselves, right? So if someone's car is about to explode, I'm not going to be there telling them, hey, car, I'm probably going to get as far away as I can, right? But then there's also the hacker, right? And then I even wonder, like, you know, if there's I even think, like, if that was to happen, right, that your app knew that person's car was about it. So, because I have a car, right? I want to put this in perspective, right? Because I have a car, right? 2014, because I said I want to give it to the person if the car's about to explode, right? So before that happens, right, I have a car, right? I have a Honda, there's a car, Honda Elantra, right? That's a recall. That if you park it, right, it's just going to catch on fire, right? So there's that. So before that car is even driving around the road, that person would be already made known of a recall on the car, saying like, hey, you know, there's something wrong with the car. Like, this car should not even be on the road, right? So more so than to alert that person probably already knows, and then you probably want to stay away from the car, right? Like, because on the typical, right, you shouldn't have to look at like if something you can't see wrong with the car, like, I want you to think of it like this. If you're trying to sell your car, you know something's wrong with it. Like, you're going to know something's wrong with it more than the other person, right, trying to buy it. So how much more so when you're on the road and that person's driving their car? They probably know there's something wrong with it more than you do, right? So unless but I think I see some edge cases. But what I wanted to get at was the devices. So like, so because I think your app, from what I understand, it's relying on it wants to pick up many things about its environment. And yes, an app like that, you can't meaningfully do it with React Native, right? You have to write plugins, and then that's where you run into limitations. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you're saying the initial React Native will simply just be used for the core entry point for users, at least for the MVP for the first phase of it. So for that it's very low bar. For most of the things that you're describing, most of the heavy lifting, that'll probably be done with microservices. Bare minimum, at least when it comes to like getting the car data, let's say. And there are applications that are out there already that have proven the concept, at least in terms of like sharing sharing the issues that a car may have in a like feasible way. At least they do it the way it's currently done is via OBD readers, where probably in most cases they communicate via Bluetooth to whatever host app is there. The way that I'll probably innovate on that would be, instead of using Bluetooth, it'll probably be the OBD reader directly talking to an API. And then that data will be stored somewhere else, obviously encrypted. And then, because really, I don't know how it's currently done in terms of like places like Carfax or Carfax, and one more that comes to mind. I think Carvana does it. No, KBB. So Carfax and like KBB, I don't know if they source their data themselves, if they compile their database themselves, not compiled, but curated the data themselves, or if they're using some like government API that like tracks vehicle data across like a range of different DMVs. But essentially they have some type of a record regarding car issues that some of these apps are tapping into. I haven't got to that phase yet to see what they're using, but when it does reach that point, more than likely I'll be tapping into that to kind of combine whatever user data the user's entering with that to kind of formulate a bigger picture of what the issues of the car is for better visibility. But at the very core, I'm using as quick and small resources as possible just to get the MVP deployed. And then as the user base grows and as we reach bottlenecks, we'll probably pivot the stack.
All right, sounds good. Jen, and then I just want a quick checkpoint about it. And then, Jen, were you able to get into the Slack as well?
Oh, I got wrapped up listening because I was like, if I don't listen, I'm gonna get lost. But yeah, I still have to I was downloading it on the computer. So yeah, or was it my phone? Oh yeah, it was my phone. That's why I got disconnected so many times. So yeah, I did download the app. Just have to log in and stuff.
Yeah, that's one thing that's all right. You know, that's an interesting topic, right? So what you really want when you come across an app, you want to use the web version, browser version. It should be fine for now, but let's dive into that a little bit, right? Because all right, the desktop version, more programs, whether you have a Mac, a Windows, or a Linux, whatever operating system, right? Those programs that you install into your computer instead of using the web browser, right? They have JavaScript, they have Python. They actually sometimes what they like to do, some of these programs, they like to bring their own libraries, their own software versions of software libraries, and like most times these programs don't consider what else is on your computer. Okay, so if you have Python 3.12 and the Slack app decides to bring in Python 3.6, 3.7, right, and it starts to do some complicated things, right, it will do some complicated things because it's a desktop app, right? Why is it doing complicated things? Because basically the same Slack server that like supports like millions of users over the world, they're trying to replicate that on your computer. And this is great. This is cost effective. And the reason why they promote it to you, it's cost effective because now instead of paying for cloud resources to run a server that supports your account, right? They're using your computer as a resource to run their application. The application I'm building is a video management app where you could transfer your videos from one platform to another in bulk, right? I would want your computer to do the heavy lifting than to pay a cloud service to do that heavy lifting, right? So even though Slack, there's media files left and right, but that's why they want it on your computer. As for my theory, but from the application I'm working on, so I'm theorizing, right? They want it on your computer instead of your web, right? So as you install more things on your computer, and like the key thing here is that these apps that you install on your computer, these apps act as if they're the only app on your computer. Usually, like the developers behind these, they don't consider other apps. So if you have as a software developer, if you have other sophisticated apps on your computer, right, they may start to clash as you install more. So that's why before you try to install things, you want to see if I could just use out my browser, right? Browser only. Because more things I got on your computer, more things that might conflict, and it causes computer to crash. And if you don't have a backup, that's the end of your data. So just a little, that insight I wanted to give you.
Okay, yeah. I'll do it on the I'll log in again. You're probably gonna see me twice in this meeting, so I can like get the link again. But yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Hey guys, it was a pleasure meeting you guys. I have to swing out, but I'll definitely be coming to this again. I did see the Slack, so I'll probably just hop into that as well.
All right, sounds good.
But awesome. Later, guys.
I have to head out also, but it was nice talking to you all, and I'll see you later on.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, sounds good. So I think what we'll try to do a little of this to-do app. I think that's how we'll wrap up here. Like I always like to end these with a workshop. Yeah, so you go ahead, share your screen, and we'll go from there.
Okay. All right. 1 second. Share screen. I just have to figure out how to share the screen.
Yes. Yeah, that's a. Let me get an article here.
Oh, okay, here it is. Share screen. Open system settings. Like for what you see on your side.
Yeah, it works. That works. Yeah, no, that works.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you see my like desktop screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, all right. Okay. Do you need me to open like a code editor or?
Yeah, so we're gonna open up VS Code, and then I think what I'll do on my end is that I'm gonna pull up a tutorial.
Okay.
All right, and then I'm gonna send it to you in the chat here. I sent it to you in the chat.
Okay. Like so long.
Yeah, and then the chat icon is at the bottom right
I
of the
know.
screen.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry you're seeing like a never-ending window of stuff. Okay, all right. Open link. Okay.
Good. And then while you're at it, I always like to tell people. And then when's your hard stop? I want to make sure that we have enough time.
Yeah, I'll whenever you're good. I don't want to hold you like too long. I appreciate the help, but I also don't want to like take up too much of your time. So yeah, so whenever you feel like, okay, this is a good, we'll stop there. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. All right. So I think first things first. What I like to do, like the white screen is bad for your eyes, white and blue. So
Okay.
what I want to do, I want to help your eyes with an extension first.
Okay.
Okay. So. Yeah, and I put in the chat. So this is Google Chrome, right?
Yep.
All right. So I put in the chat. I want you to grab that extension.
Oh.
Good. All right. So now let's go to and now reload the page.
Oh, reload. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes,
Oh
yeah.
my
So
God, I get so many headaches from the bright light on my screen. So thank you.
yeah. There's blue light, so there's more you can read about it. Like I got glasses for this stuff, but
Okay.
there's like blue light, night shifts. So all computers they should have night light or night shifts where it gives the screen an orange hue, right? They
Okay.
say it's to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
you sleep better, but I think there's a conspiracy theory about it. But the
Okay.
truth of the matter is that the screen right now is giving you blue light. So to further protect your eyes, you want to give yourself orange. But even so, right, as you code, right, you want to get yourself these blue lens glasses, right?
Okay.
Filter out that blue light, protect your eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, I get headaches too. After a while, like I have like there's like 20 minutes like our alarm that goes off every 20 minutes, so I look away.
Okay.
It sucks, but I wish I knew. That's what I tell you now, so it doesn't happen to you. So I think with that, yep. So with that, right? Let's go ahead. Right. So we see here, right? We're gonna go ahead and create to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's copy that HTML in our VS Code. Make a new file index.html.
Okay. Oh wait, Tiki, watch out. That's my cat. You cannot. Okay. I don't think this is okay. Okay. You still see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. And then.
Right. So for that,
Do you want me to add the?
Yeah, we'll do that separately. Yeah, we'll
Okay,
go
all
through it. Yeah, we'll try to go through it one by one.
right.
We'll start
Okay.
with the first exercise. So yeah, so now in the index, okay, yeah. So that's a div, but that div has to go into a HTML structure. So can you copy that
Okay.
div, delete it?
Yeah, gotcha. Could I do the?
Yeah.
Is this like the?
Yeah, you're gonna say it's okay.
Is this
And you
okay?
put it, yeah, and then you're
Okay.
gonna insert the body tag in there.
Okay. Like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you have Java, Python installed on your computer?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, let's make sure. Can you
Mm.
hit Command Shift J to open the terminal?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, let me see. I know how to.
All right, type in Python.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. And what about Node.js?
No.
Okay. All right, cool. So let's go to VS Code and let's grab the extension.
Okay.
So we're gonna say run HTTP server extension.
You said HTTP.
Yeah, P server.
Okay. Oh, serving.
Yeah. Okay, and then not the client. We're gonna look for a server here. Okay,
The second one.
Okay, let me try to see here. What maybe it's not called server.
Wrong.
Oh, you hit the refresh button or
no? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah. Just go back to the.
Okay.
Okay, it's not refreshing. All right, yeah, that's fine. That's key. Let's open up the developer tools with Command Shift J. In the browser.
Oh, in the browser. Okay.
Yeah. Command Shift. Okay. Command Shift J.
Okay. Command Shift. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'll do it this way. Like this.
Yeah, and can you go to the elements pane? Inspect. Open up the head tag.
Okay.
Oh, it sees it there. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Okay, yeah, it's a link tag, right? I've been using a framework, not a link. So
no, I literally blanked because that's that's one of the ones that throws me off too, like the different ways to do it. Okay, so let me see. I'll go back. Okay, so link like this. No.
Yeah, and then href.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Is it no, is it not open and close? It's just the one, right?
Yeah, it's just the
like
one.
This. Okay.
And then after the style.css, it's a slash.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Right, and then rel equals style sheet.
Okay. All right, and then let me refresh.
Yeah, save it first.
Oh, wait, maybe.
Yeah, so you want to open up your settings, and then you want to turn on autosave.
Okay, settings.
Yeah, that'll be Command Shift P.
Command Shift P. Okay.
And then open settings.
Oh wait, do I type open settings?
Yeah, open user settings. You see the second option.
Okay.
And then autosave, turn it on. And then after delay.
Okay, after delay.
And
Okay.
then that's good. So now it's auto saving
Okay.
for now.
All right, thanks. Okay. And then just refresh the browser. Oh, I think I got rid of it. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. That was quick.
Good. Yeah, good. So what we want to try to do is that I think the goal for today is that you're going to enter something into the title, right?
Okay.
And then we're going to and then we're going to see it appear on the DOM.
Okay.
Right? So if you enter anything, so once you click, right? So let's first things first, right? So we have to go back to our index.html.
Okay.
And then let's right before right before in front of the body tag, the open and body tag, we're going to say script. Open tags is going to be script, and then close tags, and then hit the enter key. The enter, enter. So make a new line.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All right. So now, so we see that. Okay, so we see span on click is new element, right? So the class is add button, but there's no button tags here. They just turned into a. Okay, I see what they did. All right, so we got to make a function called new element. So let's make that function new element.
Okay. So like function new element. Okay. Oh, and I spelled function. Okay.
Right, and then you want to say console log fire, just so that you know it's working.
Okay.
And then fire,
Okay.
Yeah, now let's go to the browser. Let's see.
Okay.
You want to open up the browser DevTools while we're at it, so we can see it. And now I'm gonna open up the browser DevTools.
Oh, sorry. Browser DevTools.
So that's in the browser. Yeah, back to the browser.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you. Okay. All right. So here.
Inspect, and then we go to the console.
Okay.
And now you click the add button. See if it works.
Click the
add button.
Okay.
Yep. So now
okay. All right. Oh wow.
So
okay.
You've always so there's that. All right. So okay.
And I didn't know that you could add like a function within like a script tag. Okay, all right. So that's actually really helpful. All right, thank you.
Yeah, but after this, right, sooner or later you want to go to a framework, right? So but as you go along here. All right, so now we got to get the value, okay? So so that function actually has a parameter. So let's add the E parameter for event.
Okay.
All right, and now
like that.
And now instead of console log fire, it's going to be console log event.
Okay. And then, like, do you have to like call the function to like make it do something?
It's already you see line 18.
Okay, line 18. Yeah.
Look at all right. So
I see. Okay.
All right.
So when they click, that'll call the function.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
All right. So let's go back to the browser.
Okay.
And let's click and refresh it. Let's click add again. Let's see what happens. Right. It's undefined. Right.
Okay.
We're going to have to right. It's undefined, so we have to do something different. Let's go back to so this span on click, instead of calling new element, you're just going to set it equal to the variable new element. So remove the open and close parentheses.
Okay.
Oh,
and then
no,
go
that's
back.
the quotes. Yeah, you move the quotes.
Oh, my
The
bad.
parentheses.
Okay.
Yeah, the parentheses.
Okay, so put these back
Yeah.
and then get rid of the parentheses. Oh boy. Okay. And then clean.
Yeah,
Right.
it might not work, but let's see.
Yeah, I'm clicking.
Yeah, it's not
But okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's not working. Yeah, it's not the way to do it. All right, so
Alright.
what we got to do now? We gotta add an event list. We gotta grab the button, and then we gotta add an event listener to it through JavaScript. So underneath this function, line 13, we're going to say let button equal document query selector. Yeah, you can use tabs so you can autocomplete.
This one?
Yeah.
Alright.
And then the class is going to be dot, and then the class from line 19.
Alright. The class. Do I put that?
Yeah. So call it open parentheses.
Okay.
It's open. That's open bracket.
Oh
open
my God! Sorry.
parentheses.
Okay.
Right. It's going to be open quotes
Okay.
dot add button.
Done.
No, it has to be the name of the class on line 20.
Oh, okay. All right. 20. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thanks. And okay.
Right. And then on the new line we're going to say button dot add event listener.
Okay. Like the button dot add event.
The variable. You have to use the variable that you just made.
Okay, could you say it one more time? Sorry.
So it's the button on line 14. You can't use a if you make something, you have to use what you made. You can't use something that don't exist. So it's going to be button again.
Okay.
The variable button.
Okay.
And it's going to be add event listener.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then open parentheses.
Okay.
So it's going to be now click, which is a string.
Okay.
Click is a string. Right, and then the second parameter is going to be new element. Right, good. So now on line 20, you could delete the on click.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. Hold on. Edit, undo, on click. Okay.
Right, good. And now let's try it again.
Okay.
Okay, so it says can't read properties of null. Read and add event listener. So basically that script is running before the tag, right? So we're gonna take that script and we're gonna put it underneath the body tag.
Okay. Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, good. So now we got a pointer event.
Okay.
All right,
I don't know what that is.
Right, so that's the event. That's
the
click event.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So that's the machine recognizing that you click something, and that's the code representation of that click.
Right? Okay.
All right, so now instead of getting that event, what we need is the title, right? So the title is the DOM element. So let's go back to our JavaScript. Okay. So now we're going to, right before, at the very beginning of our scripts, we're going to say let my input equal all right, it's going to be once again document query selector, right? Because it inputs an element. Okay, and now this time, right, you're going to call it, right? So open, right, and string, right? It's a open quote, right? It's going to be a number sign, and then you see on line 13 the ID, where ID is my input.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're going to copy and paste that value.
Okay.
No, the ID.
Okay. Oh, my input.
Yeah.
So do you want me to put it here, like with
Yeah.
the number sign?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just like type it in.
Yeah, copy and paste.
Okay, copy. And then paste it over the number sign.
Yeah, so my input goes in front of behind the number sign.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes behind it. It's all one string.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, it goes in front.
Okay, gotcha.
All right,
like that.
And,
okay.
Yeah, and now instead of console log event, you're going to say console log input dot value.
Okay.
All right, so now let's go ahead and let's go back to the browser and let's see if you can get something in this input.
Oh. Okay. To type something in, like WindMill. Okay, it went in.
All right, good. So now let's try to finish out strong. There's 2 more steps we have to do, right? So, right. So, so what we have to do now, we have to get that unordered list. That's an element, right? That's another element that you have to go get. Okay. So now at the very beginning of the script tag, right? Let's make a new variable unordered list, and then you go ahead and get and do that document query selector to get the value, to get that element.
It says let ul equal document and then this one was number input, so number my ul. Like this?
Yeah, good. Okay. So now, right, so now we have that, right? So what we have to do is for this, we got to add an li element, right? We have to add an li element, right? So now inside our new element function, right, we're going to create an element.
Okay.
Right? So let's delete input dot value.
Okay, here?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, delete the whole line 30.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're going to say let li equal, it's going to be document once again, dot create element, right? And then it's right, and then it's going to be what now?
Well, document dot create element. I'm not sure.
Right. What's the goal? So so this is the practice because because we've gotten this far, but now
Yeah.
we're gonna learn. We're gonna put the theory into practice. So what's the end goal
Okay.
right here? What's our end goal right here at this point?
To add the list item, like
Okay.
whatever the user puts in to get it into the console.
Right. Right. We have to create
Okay.
that element first. So our goal,
Okay.
that's the end goal. But this current end goal right here, right now,
To
is
add
to
it to the
create.
list.
Before that, we have to create the element first.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So that's our goal right now. Create the element
Okay.
first. Right.
Okay.
Before we can add anything, we have to create it. Right.
Okay.
So this is what we call this in school. They call it deductive reasoning, right?
Okay.
So now let's try to. So how can I get closer to the What do I have to do to get closer to that goal?
Get like user input.
No,
Like
what's the end goal? What's the
to
end goal
create
right now? Yeah.
to create a list item.
Yes. So how do I
Okay.
get to that goal? What can I do to get to that goal? Ask yourself.
Like using the to-do list or using the code portion.
Yeah. This is all code. This is all code.
Okay. 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 To get closer to creating that, create a list item.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
how do I create a list item?
By like using the list item tags.
Okay. So let's do that.
Okay. Put it in here in the.
Right. Will that get you closer to your goal? Right. Because now you're going to be coding. So will putting a list item in there get you closer to your goal?
No, because it'll limit. Like I won't be able to have a list item in addition to that one, I guess. Like, or actually, could I like put list item like within like as a parameter so that whenever someone adds a list item, it'll just like continue adding it? Like, is that
All,
a
all good
solution?
and well, but you have to focus on the end goal. What's the end goal?
Okay.
What's
To
the end
create a
goal?
list
Right.
item.
Okay. So this action, put an
Okay.
li as a parameter. Will it get you closer to your end goal?
Yes. No. Yes.
Right. Like literally
I'm
think
gonna
about
I'm
it.
gonna guess.
Like if
I'm gonna say yes. Okay.
no, but you have to think. But when I say deductive reasoning, right? Will an
hmm
apple get you closer to your goal? Which will get you to your goal, an apple or a list item?
A list item.
Yes, right. So that's how you want to think about it. You have to,
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
like if your car has a flat, right? Which
Uh-huh.
tool is going to help you fix the flat?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how you want to
Okay.
think about it. Like
Okay.
you may not know how to get the nozzle on the tire on the I even know what to call it.
I,
You know, but you know
but
you
yeah,
need
but
to
you
get
know
an air
you need
pump.
the tool. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that list item now is going to be in quotes.
Okay.
All right. So now you say now on the new line,
Okay.
you're going to say list item li.inner text. Inner.
Oh,
You
inner.
said
Okay.
inner. Yes. Yeah, inner text is going to equal. Do you remember what it was?
Um. Oh, like from previously?
Yeah.
No.
Right. It's going to be event.value. Right.
Okay.
So that's the point. Is like, okay, how do I get the value from the input element? That's where you do Google. Right.
Okay.
Like for time being, we're going to give you the answer. Right. But
Okay.
this is what
Thank
you
you.
want to think about. Right.
Okay.
And now you want to say, okay, now we're at the point. Okay, how I'm going to add, right, this list item to the UL, right?
Okay.
That's going to be
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm like starting to understand a little bit better. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Right. So these points, like you're not going to know, right? But these points, you just know that like I need to somehow get an air pump. I need to somehow get this, and Google's the one way you get these answers. Right.
Okay.
ChatGPT is another way. Right. So for here, and then there's also me. Right. So for here, it's the UL.
Okay.
In the new line.
And then, okay, new line.
Yeah, value is not a UL.
Okay.
dot append child, and then li as a parameter.
Okay.
All right, good. So now let's see if that works.
Oh. Okay. If I press it again, oh, okay, all right, it'll keep doing it because it's a function. Okay. So then, all right, so since it's undefined, do we then, or actually it's undefined because nothing was put in
Right.
to, okay, gotcha. But then, all right, otherwise, oh, still undefined. All right, so there's something I like didn't do
Yeah.
right.
So
Okay.
so we made a mistake. So we said here it's not event dot value, right? It's input dot value.
Okay.
Because the event is the click, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
a mistake that we made, right? And now if we refresh, sure.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And then I'll delete the. Okay. Wow, this is actually really helpful. Oh my
Yeah,
god, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. So you know, definitely, you know, like, share, subscribe, support us on our channel. We put a lot of content out there, and then I'll upload this.
Okay.
Make time to join the Slack. I'll send you some resources. I'll upload this for your future.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, and that'll be that. Right.
All right. Thanks so much. I really appreciate the help.
All right. No problem. All right.
All right.